Right, ladies and gentlemen, the Dacia Jogger. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why is somebody reviewing this thing in 2024 when it hasn't changed a bit since it launched in 2022? And you'd be right, there aren't any major updates. But here's the thing, I simply couldn't resist. After all, this is the cheapest 7-seater in Europe, a car that offers space for 7 people at a price so low, you'd think Dacia found a way to make cars out of recycled shoeboxes. First off, let's talk about the design. Now, I know Dacia has a reputation for being, let's say, practical rather than beautiful, but the Jogger is different. From the front, it's actually quite handsome. There's a rugged, SUV-like stance with those bold LED lights and chunky grille that give it a sense of purpose. You almost get the feeling that it's saying, "I'm not here to mess around." It looks modern, clean, and dare I say, even a bit stylish. It's only when you get to the back that things go a little sideways. The rear end looks like the designers got halfway through, looked at the clock and said, "Oh no, lunch break." It's boxy, tall, and not particularly inspiring. But hey, you're not staring at the back of your own car, are you? Now, about those 7 seats. Let me just remind you again, this is the cheapest 7-seater you can buy. For the price of a few optional extras on a Mercedes, you get a whole extra row of seats. And despite the Jogger's compact footprint, it's shockingly roomy inside. Sure, the third row is best suited for kids or your least favorite relatives, but it works. Fold them down, and you've got a cavernous boot for all your gear, shopping, or a family of inflatable giraffes, whatever floats your boat. Let's take a look at the trims, because Dacia, ever thoughtful, has given us a nice little variety here. Essential. This is the no-frills version. Basic, but not bad. It's got the essentials, hence the name, like air conditioning and electric windows. No fancy screens or plush interiors, but it's functional. If you're just looking for a box on wheels to carry your brood, this will do the job. Expression. Things start to get more comfortable here. You get a larger touchscreen, a reversing camera, and keyless entry. It's the "I want my car to do things, but I don't want to pay much for it" option. Extreme SE. This is where Dacia really rolls out the red carpet, or at least the plush fabric seats. There's automatic climate control, nice alloy wheels, and even a built-in navigation. Fancy. It's a bit like finding a silk tie in a bargain bin. It just feels special. Ah yes, and now there's a hybrid version of the Dacia Jogger. That's right, Dacia has joined the eco-friendly brigade, offering a 1.6-liter petrol engine combined with an electric motor. It's not going to win any awards for blistering performance, but it'll certainly save you a few trips to the pump. Plus, you get that smooth, silent glide in electric mode when you're pottering around town. Dacia's hybrid tech is borrowed from Renault, so you can count on it being reliable. And the best part? It's still cheaper than most 5-seaters. Efficient, practical, and green, without making your wallet cry. What's not to love? But here's the real gem, the LPG version. You heard me right. This car comes with a factory-fitted LPG system. That means you get the option of running it on petrol or liquefied petroleum gas. It's eco-friendly, efficient, and, most importantly, dirt cheap to run. You'll feel positively smug as you pass petrol stations with the needle still far from empty. As for the drive, well, it's not a sports car, but then again, it doesn't need to be. The 1.0-liter 3-cylinder engine offers just enough grunt to keep you moving comfortably, even with all 7 seats filled. It's sprightly around town, easy to park, and on the motorway, well, it gets there. The steering is light. And while the ride isn't what you'd call luxurious, it's perfectly adequate for family duty. Of course, there are a few rough edges. The sound insulation is, let's say, minimal. At highway speeds, you'll hear more wind noise than a seagull convention. and the interior materials are, shall we say, built to last rather than to impress. Lots of hard plastic, but that's just fine when you've got kids throwing crisps everywhere. You don't buy a Dacia for premium feel, you buy it because it makes sense. But for all its quirks, the Dacia Jogger is brilliant. It's honest, practical, and doesn't pretend to be something it's not. It's the perfect car for large families or anyone who needs a lot of space without the ridiculous price tag. Yes, the rear design might be a bit of an afterthought. And sure, you won't feel like James Bond behind the wheel. But at this price, you won't care. You'll just be laughing all the way to the bank. Or more likely, the petrol station, where you'll fill up for peanuts thanks to that LPG tank. In the end, the Jogger does exactly what it says on the tin. It offers space, practicality, and economy at an unbeatable price. It's a true budget hero, and I have to say, it's hard not to be impressed by how much car you get for so little money. And if you enjoyed this review, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Because trust me, there are plenty more bargains and hidden gems out there, and you won't want to miss what's coming next.